Hey yo, Simon!
What? I'm busy.
Can you make me a Shadow Palace 4 guy?
What? What the fuck?
Just use the same auto battle team for Shadow Palace 3, but with better gears. Easy.
Bonk!
Bruh, you think everybody's like you? Have like 72% CDR base set and all awakened units?
お二人ともバカだったりしますか
What do you mean? Hello? I don't even have a single 72% CTR base set. And I didn't even use a single awakened unit in the previous video too.
Wait! You didn't?
Go freaking watch it. What's going on YouTube? My name is Simon Sniped and welcome to the channel. First things first, I'd like to thank you all for the support for the previous guide video to Shadow Palace 3. I'm glad it was able to be helpful, so I've decided to do another one for Shadow Palace 4 to see if it's possible to do it also with the more common units and with as little min-max gears such as 72% CDR skill haste gears. It kinda worked. Anyway, let's get into it. Shadow Palace 4 in general is actually not as tricky as Shadow Palace 3, though you may need to pay a bit more attention to the gears you are using. Before we go into it stage by stage, here's a general summary of what we will be using across the 5 stages. The first unit we'll be using is Carl Wong. Give him your best CDR gears to maximize his special skills because he'll be supporting your team with taunts, valid hits, and some DPS. The second unit is Gayun. She's going to be your main CC and DPS unit with amazing damage and crowd control capabilities. The third unit is going to be Adele. Whenever unbanned, she'll be the strongest DPS and support unit without much effort. The next one we want to talk about is Chifuyu. If you give Chifuyu HP sets with some damage resistance, she can basically tank a very long time with the help of 2 healers and also do decent damage with some form of CC in her normal attacks. Next we have the twins Ainz and Zwei. They are amazing crowd control units that can vacuum enemies and disable them for a long time, creating a burst DPS window to help you clear mobs. You will also need Young Harim, one of the best cooldown reduction supporters and healer. I don't need to say much about this. And lastly, you want to use Evelyn, an AoE healer by HP percentage, actually has some CC when casting a special skill and heals on her ultimate. These units will make up the most of your team for the 5 stages unless they are banned. So now, let's go through stage by stage and see how I think we can do it on full auto. For stage 1 Janus, where we have the defenders banned, you want to use your initial deployment resources to drop 1 or 2 front lines with Carl very early in the run, following that up with your healers and DPS for a more stable and consistent attempt. And this is how I arrange the units. If you do fail this stage using this setup, make sure to try and deploy your healers a little bit earlier. Most of the time, failure is caused by the weak follow-up of redeploying units one at a time if they were wiped once before. Moving on to stage number 2, we have Ryan Ferrier and the supporter banned. Ryan Ferrier's stage is actually very simple. Since supporters are banned, all you need to do is dump as many rangers with 2 strikers as your frontline tanks and you should be fine. Forget about healing and just focus on doing as much damage as possible using the least amount of deployment resources. So units such as Shinjia, Admin Swordfighter, and Ifrit are all very good picks. So here's how I arrange them and put them on auto during the fight. Carrying on to stage 3, we have Gabriel with the Sniper's Band. Gabriel is also not too big of a threat, and he's basically a stationary tank blocking your way, and his basic attacks has a few valid hits. That's about it. Using the same team with this sequence, you can pretty much just kill everything on your way and move on to the ship in a single push. Stage number 4, we have a combination of Ryan and Gabriel. Now following this sequence of deployment, your front line of choices should be able to survive until the healers enter the fray, since the beginning part of the run doesn't really have high incoming damage. Once your team is able to snowball, everything else should, well, end very naturally. Moving on to the final stage, stage number 5 is a compilation of all 3 prior bosses, and since we did not use any awakened units to begin with, the strategy is the same as stage 4. I swapped their places around to basically show that as long as the core units are there, any replacement should yield the same results. The biggest difference between Shadow Palace 3 and 4 is mainly the gear requirement. You'll need to really give your best gears to certain units to have a more stable and consistent run. Other than that, it isn't too mechanically challenging, such as being pushed non-stop by Levy in the previous Shadow Palace or get sniped instantly by Xiaolin. I hope this video is able to provide some assistance to your runs. Good luck, and until the next video, I'll catch you again soon.